guys, it's Ashley with an I. Welcome back to my channel where we're striving to become healthy and whole His way every day. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys 5 books that have really transformed my life and helped me become a stronger, healthier individual, whether it was relationally, emotionally, spiritually, or just by teaching me something new, because I mean, learning something new is a part of becoming healthy too. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into 5 books that have changed my life. So the first book that we have here is the StrengthsFinder. So before this was a book, it was actually an assessment, and it was based off the principle that people are more likely to be successful if you maximize their strengths rather than highlighting their weaknesses and telling them like, hey, these are the areas you need to grow, so like work on it. Essentially, you take the assessment and it gives you your top 5 strengths. So off the top of my head, I remember mine was like empathy, being a developer, an includer, being futuristic, and I believe command. And I will put a little more information as to the assessment and where you guys can find the book and the just kind of like the details of each of the strengths down below. But ever since I took this assessment and learned more about my strengths, I focus more on that. Especially like in the workplace, I was able to kind of capitalize on the fact that like I am an includer, so I love to bring people in and make everyone feel welcome and just like talk to everyone and kind of bring everyone in on one accord, make people feel like they are a part of team, rather than focusing on the fact that like maybe I'm not the most organized at things. Focusing on the fact that like I may not be as organized took away energy that I could be putting into being an includer and being a developer and being empathetic. I've definitely grown stronger just knowing more of who I am and what value I add to my family, what value I add to my friends, my team, my coworkers, just anyone and everyone that I'm around. The second book that has changed my life is the 5 Love Languages book. So I didn't know about the 5 love languages till I got to college. That along with like the Myers-Briggs and the Enneagram and gosh, what's the other one? The Big 5 personality, like all of the psychology tests and things like that. I didn't know anything about them till I got to college. So the 5 love languages book essentially breaks down how people receive love. So there's 5 languages. There's quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, and physical touch. And I just so happen to say that in the order that my love languages so happen to be. So I think it's really, really cool to have this kind of breakdown, because it really helps you in your relationships connect with people beyond just kind of like the typical norms of like, oh, just buy her some flowers, oh, just get her some chocolate. Like, no, it really hones in on what you can do for this specific individual that makes them feel most loved. And I know for me, when I feel most loved, I'm able to give love better, and it increases my confidence in our relationship, and it helps us really grow stronger. So I think everyone should get the 5 love languages book and take the assessment so you know your own love languages. So I really think it helps reduce conflict and increases your communication and your intimacy. And intimacy isn't just a boyfriend-girlfriend thing or a husband-wife thing. Like, you can increase your intimacy just between you and your friends by knowing how you guys can both love each other in a way that really meets the other person's needs. Relationship goals, number 3. And these books are honestly in no particular order. I'm not like ranking them like which one was the most transformative, oh, no pun intended, over the other. But I absolutely loved relationship goals. When it first came out, honestly, I was like, oh, I don't really need to get this book. I'm not dating. I'm not trying to date, blah, blah. And like, I'll get the book whenever I feel like I'm ready to enter that season of life. But honestly, so many people were talking about it when it first came out. I was like, you know what? Let me just get this book just so I can have some foreknowledge on dating and relationships and marriage. And just like the book says, it tells you how to win at dating, marriage, and sex. And honestly, that is truth. And the reason why I'd say it's truth is because Michael Todd uses a biblical basis for how to function in relationships, how to approach relationships. He does focus more on like the dating and marriage aspect, but some of these principles you can use in your friendships or even just like with your families. So he has a sermon series that the original one actually came out, I think in 2018, and it was just relationship goals. And he came back and did a part 2 in 2020 called Relationship Relationship Goals Reloaded, and that's where this book was birthed from. So you'll see a lot of his sermon notes from those messages in this book, with some extra details about his personal life and his relationship with his wife Natalie. They actually were high school sweethearts, which I think was so cool and super sweet. But like, he definitely doesn't paint this image of like it was perfect. Like, he showed how he had kind of a rocky path in their relationship and the mistakes that he made just from his lack of knowledge on like a biblical basis for relationships, and how to move with intentionality, and how to have a pace, and how to love the other person selflessly, and how to love yourself as well. So I definitely recommend everyone get relationship goals, even if you're not dating, if you're not trying to date, if you are dating, if you're married, if you've been married for 50 years, it's always good to have a refresher. I look at things such as like the Love Languages book and relationship goals as preventative maintenance for anyone that's in a relationship, because you may have a great marriage, great relationship, great partnership, and everything could be running smoothly, but books like the Love Languages and relationship goals can definitely enhance that and strike up conversations that you wouldn't normally have with your partner. This book right here, like this right here, and I have the accompanying journal as well. These two books were just, I can't even put into words. So the book that I just showed you was Forgiving What You Can't Forget by Lysa TerKeurst, and I'm telling you, I was powerfully blown away by her story and her the redemption in her marriage, as well as just the powerful effect of forgiveness. Like, I can't even get the words out because it was so great. So I actually asked for this book for Christmas about 2 years ago, because I had been in therapy / counseling for quite some time. I think I'm coming up on 5.5, 6 years now. But I was still working through a lot of forgiveness. A lot of people don't know this, but unforgiveness is actually categorized as a disease now. And I can totally see why, because I've witnessed people that have had deep unforgiveness in it. It rots their bones and it eats them from the inside out. And I know the Bible even talks about that as well. But with this book, Lysa TerKeurst tells her story of how she had to walk through this path of forgiveness with her husband after he committed adultery in their marriage. And it was a long journey for her. I think it took a couple years, but just seeing her get from point A to point B with how she was able to forgive her husband in the midst of the chaos of her life, and in the midst of all the emotional turmoil, the physical aspects of everything that had happened during this time period, all kind of just culminated while she was trying to walk through this forgiveness season. And she just so beautifully writes out how she does it. So for me, having this book was just absolute gold. And part of that is I definitely had to walk through my own season of forgiving many people in my life. I have experienced trauma. I think most of us have. And I've had little things to forgive, like my roommate ate my food, or forgive people that walked out of my life and just didn't have any sort of explanation for it, or the people that talked about me, the people that made up lies and spread rumors about me and just really tried to tear my name down. Like, I've had heavy things like that I've had to forgive. And with this book, I love how she just so eloquently just writes out every single detail of her story, not leaving anything out, because it really created this big picture of, like, first of all, forgiveness can be so messy at times, and it's hard, it's difficult. And the reason why I love that she didn't leave anything out is because she just showed how raw and painful this process can be, walking through the hurt and grieving. But she also showed how beautiful it can be when you get to the other side and you're able to let that person go. You're able to acknowledge that they're human too. They make mistakes. I make mistakes. I've probably hurt people. I'm probably in somebody's forgiveness journal right now for something I may not even realize I did, or maybe it was something I did intentionally do. But I just love how she just brings this sense of unity with mankind, that like we all have somebody that we need to forgive. And even if it's not somebody you can think of off the top of your head, it could just be yourself. I know that was kind of a lot, but the forgiveness book really helped me slowly walk through forgiveness, understand what it meant, understand that it doesn't always mean reconciling with the person, understanding boundaries, understanding how forgiveness really improves your mental health, and understanding that there's always something better on the other side of forgiveness. So I definitely recommend that everyone get the book as well as the accompanying journal. It's a guided journey, so it goes along with each of the chapters, and I love how she puts like little pictures from like around her house. So you kind of feel like you're like walking with her, like through her home, and she has this thing where she wants us to gather around her little gray table in her kitchen. So it's like she's inviting you to do this with her, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Lysa TerKeurst is a wonderful author. She's also the president of Proverbs 31 Ministries. So if you guys are ever interested in checking that out, I will be putting a lot of information in the drop down box below. This last book here is called Having a Merry Heart in a Martha World. If you don't know about Mary and Martha, they come from probably one of the most common stories in the Bible, which is the story of Lazarus, which is a sick man, a sick friend actually of Jesus, who Jesus raised from the dead. This book shows the two different types of spirits that an individual can have. So having a heart of Mary means having a heart that is slowed down, a heart that has that's full of trust in God, and a heart that doesn't rush God. In this book, it basically outlines a biblical way to find intimacy, rest, and quietness with God in the busyness of the life. So Martha represents the busyness of the world, that I got to do this, I got to do that, I have to be this, I have to be that kind of hustle and flow mindset that our culture honestly idolizes. And Mary represents being slow, being still, knowing who you are without actions, without deeds, without feeling like you have to earn something, and just trust in and knowing that your identity is secure in Christ, and that He will fulfill all the promises that He has for you because you are His child, not because you're doing this and you're doing that. It's a very loaded book. It's something that I actually really recommend for small groups, or just like women's groups, or just to do with a friend. It comes with a 12-week study guide as well. So it's definitely something you would want to partner with someone along with, but I definitely read it by myself and I enjoyed it, and I would love to read it again with anyone who is willing to do that with me. But I definitely recommend that you guys get Having a Merry Heart in a Martha World. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with anyone and everyone. Let me know what books have transformed your life. I'm always open to recommendations. As I mentioned throughout this video, I will put links to all the books down below, and the links to the different assessments I was talking about. But if I forget anything, of course, just comment down below, let me know, and I will definitely address all of your comments. Other than that, I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys next week. During our next video, I have something really exciting for you guys. But other than that, don't forget to like, share with anyone and everyone, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.